Now, I've made my position when it comes specifically to marijuana very, very clear a multitude of times, and then just my outright detestation for the sedatives, whatever you want to have them in your life, okay? Whether it be pot or drink or other types of drugs, just get rid of them from your life. It's stifling your creativity and your ability to succeed in this world. No successful people, okay? And don't point to the Joe Rogans that are out there. Cool, if you want to just point to the exception in order to disprove the rule, congratulations, you're arguing like a woman. And that's a woman's thought. But here's the thing, you need to earn your sedations. And even if you do manage to be so high performing that you do manage to earn the little break, the little respite that's out there, chances are if you actually are firing on all cylinders, you're not going to want that impediment ahead of you. But because most people are just, in fact, most people, they're looking forward to having marijuana decriminalized or legalized, whatever the hell is going to be going on, because it's going to be on the ballot in a multitude of states, and it's eventually just federally going to get recognized, okay? Is there uses to the actual leaf itself? Of course. Hemp is incredibly strong, and it's a very malleable tool, and it's incredibly beneficial. And yeah, is there some pain-relieving capacities in the THC and CBD oil? Yeah, 100%. I think that's fairly well researched and discovered. But if you want to advocate for just sitting down, smoking dope, and having no energy, increased appetite, and an abundance of brain fog, you go ahead and you go do that. We'll be over here actually creating stuff and contributing to societies. But also just do it inside your own home, because I don't want to have to smell it when I'm outside exercising. Cannabis looks to become legally available to a million more Americans within months, with broad support for changing federal law and ballot measures in 5 states in the next month's midterm elections. Voters in Arkansas, Maryland, Missouri, and North Dakota and South Dakota will vote in November to decide whether to legalize weed for residents aged 21 or older, changing the rules in states with a combined population of 16 million. Yeah, and again, from a pragmatic stance, what the average person does, I literally don't give a fuck about. I'm just telling you my own personal bias when it comes to this stuff. You don't have to live your life like I do. Hell, you don't even have to take my advice. If you just want to take this purely from a news standpoint, totally your decision. But if I was chairman of the world, oh yeah, all this shit would be fucking gone. No. There'd be mandated exercise. Nobody would be drinking. Nobody would be doing drugs. Oh, it'd be wonderful utopia, but shit's never going to happen, okay? That's just how I run my life. Well, efforts in Washington, D.C. to end the federal prohibition on marijuana has fizzled. Polling released on Wednesday shows that 3 in 5 voters support a bill that want weed legalized nationwide. Cool, so that breaks down to what? 60% of people are fine with legalized marijuana? Where do you want to stop with the decriminalization of drugs or legalization of drugs? However, it shakes out, right? Is it just with dope? Okay, does it eventually go to other recreational drugs? Do you draw a line at hard drugs, intravenous drugs? Do you continue to go down that line? What types or what derivatives of marijuana are you fine with? Or is it just, no, that's fine, because I hear marijuana is pretty good, and I got a friend who likes to smoke every once in a while, and they're all right. Your average person is kind of ill-informed on the situations at hand. Just saying. But how is it affecting the youth? That's what I care about. Okay, the next society, or the next generation, from some metrics, look like they'll be a productive society. From others, well, they're just smoking dope more than ever. Pollster Robbie Brock described the support for measures across a variety of demographics, suggesting that opponents will have a tough time peeling off votes to defeat the proposal. Yeah, again, it's an eventuality, okay? I already have it up here in Canada where I'm at, and again, I can't go more than a quarter mile in any direction and not be inundated with 3 or 4 different idiots smoking weed outside. I hate the smell. It lingers. It's gross. There's nothing I can fucking do about it. I just keep it out of my residence and don't associate with any more pot smokers, because again, you're the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, and if you want to surround yourself with fucking dope heads, hey, you go ahead and you do that, and guess what? You hang out with 5 losers, you're more than likely going to end up being the 6th. Reports on polls in Missouri, North Dakota, South Dakota suggest the votes will be closer in those 3 states, based Dakota and Missouri's. In the coming years, voters in Oklahoma, Wyoming, Florida, Nebraska, and Ohio will also hold ballot measures on legalizing pot. Researchers suggest that BDSA Project legal cannabis sales hit $30 billion this year. Yeah, so successful that California has to bail out their own illegal dispensaries. Fucking great decision there, my guys. And a 46 $0.6 billion by 2026. Cool. Yeah. Over a 4-year span, you can only manage to get a little better than 50% growth. Oof, sucks to suck. And sending windfall tax revenues into the coffers of permissive states. And again, most people, once they realize that the legal dispensaries are overcharging you, they just end up going back to their dealers. So again, this just becomes another government subsidized project that really ends up benefiting absolutely nobody. Experts say legalizing pot has led to gaining acceptance in recent years, leading to more people to try it. Stress from the coof pandemic has also driven up the numbers of users. Yeah, of course. And again, up here in Canada, we were locked down longer, harder, and more painfully than many other places around the world. But yet, I can tell you, and I was here recording most of my stay, if you go do something and make something of your life, you don't need to fall back on a bunch of sedatives. It's wild. The National Institute on Drug Abuse, NIDA, annual survey in August found that the number of under 30s using marijuana hit record levels last year, which the agency's boss, Dr. Nora Volko, called a concern. No, it's fine. You can't get addicted to pot. There's no side effects to it at all whatsoever. It's a miracle drug, and everybody should be taking it en masse because a sedated society is an easily controllable one. Oopsie daisy. Experts described a potential explosion of underage cannabis use. Have you gone? I wouldn't recommend it because that's a little creepy, but it wasn't that long ago, over a decade ago, that I was in high school. Yeah, there's quite a bit of underage pot use, just saying. And raised the alarm over the weak oversight of the pot industry. Yeah, they don't care. And again, dude, holy shit, that packaging right there, I actually thought that was an endorsed Starburst package. That looks identical. Holy fuck, that's got to be just about copyright infringement. That's goddamn close. Jesus Christ. Kevin Sabet, a former White House drug advisor, noted how early legalizers of cannabis like Washington and Colorado have been the first states. The dangers of super strength pot, and the backlash has begun to restrict sales. Yeah, you can hear the argumentation on all sides when it comes to this stuff. Okay, the early adopters, being the canary in the coal mine when it comes to this stuff, but then also the spread of super pot that's out there, I guess, whatever the hell they want to call it, that only came to prominence because people had the need to smoke pot and they could only grow it in certain areas, and if it was more accepted and more widespread, you wouldn't have this lab-grown perfected bud that's out there. Whatever, man, justify it however you want. I'm not so pessimistic regarding how North Dakota, Arkansas, and some other small states vote in November, Sabet said, president of the campaign group Smart Approaches to Marijuana. In some ways, expediting legalization greatly expedites the backlash. Yeah, no, exactly. Just get it over with, okay? And then all of these fucking pot shops, because again, there's not a lot of commercial building and commercial development that's happening in Grand Prairie. Specifically, everything that does pop up is a stupid strip mall or just a dividing up of former larger stores into smaller ones. Every single one has a liquor store and a pot shop going into it without fail. And again, I never see vehicles outside of these places either, so I know who's keeping them open. It's not the customers, it's definitely my tax dollars. The average cannabis joint is 4 to 5 times stronger than it was 50 years ago. Okay, and $1 can barely buy what it could 4 to 5 years ago, so it evolves with the times, I understand. With 20 to 25% THC potency, said Sabet, concentrates and edibles are engineered to be more addicting by profit-seeking pot firms that are 100% potent, he added. Okay. Legalization implies that there's no risk with marijuana use, and we know there is. Yes, exactly. That's where I'll pop in with this study right here. Sharp rise in marijuana-related psychosis. What? I thought it was 100% safe. That's what we were told by all the advocates all these years. American Board of Pain Medicine. Cannabis products are produced to have extremely high percentages of THC. As drug legalization groups and cannabis industry lobbies to legalize cannabis across the United States, with initiatives to legalize marijuana on the November ballot in 5 or more states, many experts warn this will only increase the physical and mental harm of unregulated high-potency cannabis. President of the American Board of Pain Medicine and the Vice President of the International Academy on the Science and Impacts of Cannabis, Dr. Ken Finn, said that high-potency cannabis use is linked to poisonings in young children, as well as psychosis and schizophrenia in an increasing number of regular users. Yeah, that's what I'm more concerned of when it comes to young kids. It's not supposed to affect those. It's like, yeah, young kids get killed. Whoa, we should have murder laws on the books. It's like, okay, that's a side effect, and that's one that's been accounted for. I don't know what else to tell you. It's not legalized for kids, but yeah, kids are going to continue to do it. Okay, just try to justify booze as well. You can't. A lot of my colleagues that work in psychiatry and emergency medicine are seeing a sharp rise in marijuana-related psychosis. Okay, Dr. Ken Finn told The Nation Speaks in an October 1st interview. Data from Europe ties the mental health problems to high levels of THC chemicals in cannabis that cause people to feel high. The European data shows that there's a fivefold increase of first episode psychosis when they are described as high-potency THC, which generally is about 10%. All of this means nothing to me. I have no fucking idea. So we are really in uncharted waters here. In Colorado, the THC potencies are between 40 and 60%. Holy! With all these states going down this pathway. And again, like we've seen before, Colorado was one of the first places, and Washington. So great. Edibles and grunge music. That's what's coming out of Washington State. Give me a good reason why North Korea's next missile test shouldn't conclude in Washington State. Just wondering. NIH came out with a paper last week showing that kids that are exposed to cannabis in utero tend to have psychotic-like episodes by the time that they're 10 years old. Interesting. Yeah, but it's her body, her choice, you fucking bigots. You can't put limitations on women's bodies. Ben Court, author of Weed Incorporated, The Truth About the Pot Lobby, THC, and the Commercial Marijuana Industry, said that the reasons that cannabis products are increasing their THC content is to offset the tolerance threshold existing users have developed to the compound. That's interesting. Then why are there different alcohol potencies in different spirits and drinks as well? Okay? Like, I'm theoretically on your side, it's just your justification is kind of falling a little bit short here. The more problems the user has, the higher the concentration they have to consume. Yeah, we know how drugs work, okay? It's inevitable that that in a commercialized product that depends on problem use, they will end up with, these 99.9% pure THC products. I guess, okay. But again, that's a nitpick of the capitalistic system, which you don't even need to go down that far. All you need to do is just show your average pothead and just say, hey, you want to be like him? Here you go. Just fucking eat this bag of gummy worms or whatever the fuck these kids do. While cannabis-induced psychosis won't affect most people after they halt their use, for some, it can persist for weeks or months before things return to normal, Finn said. So this potency is a very dangerous product, particularly if there's a young person that is exposed to it. Can you prove that? Again, I'm on your side theoretically, but you need to have some receipts on this. There just aren't enough placements available for the mental health care needed, he said. And again, that's where you kind of got to put a knock on the Ronald Reagan regime, okay? Great president. And I can't recall, yes, because I had a very potent Rice Krispie treat. They went snap, crackle, and, well, I don't recall. He kind of did a number on the mental health industry by closing a bunch of insane asylums that should probably still be open because there's a lot of crazy motherfuckers running around. So yeah, he wasn't exactly a perfect president. He was pretty close, though. Pretty close. And in the very rare circumstance, sometimes the psychosis doesn't reverse at all, he added. There's a very strong correlation to cannabis use to high potency with schizophrenia, although the link of casual effect has not clearly been proven, but it's strongly suspected. Yes, exactly. But correlation does not equal causation, so you gotta cross your T's and dot your I's. Monitoring the Futures panel study found that marijuana use in young adults 19 to 30 years old increased significantly in 2021 compared to previous years. Interesting. Which court said shows a lower risk perception of risk in the community, although the actual risk has gone up. The lower the perception of risk for any substance, the higher the use rate will be. Any sort of industry that has addictive potential is absurdly dependent on the problem user. Just like the alcohol industry. Hey, here you go. Now you're tying it together. I appreciate that. Where roughly 20% of the consumers drink 80% of the alcohol. Oh, so the Pareto distribution also works in the wine and spirits industry. 7% of the consumers who buy the cannabis represent 76% of the sales. Holy. And then the rest of them, just get them from their old dealer who they've known for decades at this point. According to the study from Columbia University, Mailman School of Public Health, and NYU School of Medicine. What a wonderfully long title that you have there, my guy. States in which recreational marijuana use is legal has seen a 26% increase in use among young adults, as well as an increase in problem users. And exactly, just an anecdotal piece of evidence that I can provide to you, because Canada ended up turning on the spigot to legalized marijuana in 2015 or something like that. I've seen a sharp increase in homeless people just within my own community right here. Okay, that was kind of the centerpiece of my one of the most consistently viewed videos on the channel, which is just fucking weird. I never expected it to take off, but nobody talks about Grand Prairie and its transient nature and kind of the darker side to this stuff. But the easier the access to legalized marijuana, the more prevalent homelessness and other drug addictions. Oh, because what also came around to the public vernacular in on or around 2015? Oh, right, the opioid crisis. Now, what are opioids supposed to be used for? Pain relief. Oh, cool. And what's the whole marketing behind legalizing marijuana? Oh, pain relief. Yep, no correlation there at all whatsoever. Nope, nothing. Poison control calls are skyrocketing across the country in states that have both medical and recreational cannabis programs, particularly in the 0 to 5 age group. Yeah, but we've always heard those other stories too, that people think, oh my god, I'm having a heart attack. I can basically hear my heart beating through my chest. Sir, is this the first time that you've ever done an edible? Yeah. YouTube has tons of those fucking released 911 calls. They're funny as shit sometimes. Finn is concerned that because the industry has circumvented the FDA drug development process, many of these products available tend to be contaminated with fungicides and anticoagulants, rodenticides, heavy metals. Have you ever been to the concert? Have you ever been to a heavy metal concert? You're always going to end up smelling pot. Oh, not that type of heavy metal. And sometimes mislabeled or deceptively labeled. Let's go back to this. Again, I was absolutely fooled, okay? The back is a little bit different, but then I was taking a look. It's like, no, there's there. And then it's like, oh, that's very clever that you have there. They even got the little, I think that's what, a calorie indicator that's down there. It's fucking wild how close they can skirt that. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's all for profit, right? Because again, state houses get the tax cuts and the companies want to create more enticing product. So what's this ultimately going to lead? Oh, okay, cool. We're going to decriminalize. We're going to legalize pot that's going to be out there. At the end of the day, it's just going to mean more government, because you're going to need more regulations, more stipends for these businesses that need to put out the illegal product that's out there. Do whatever the hell you want. I know it's ultimately not going to affect me because I curate my reality very precisely, and I don't let losers who do pot enter my sphere of influence. So do whatever the hell you want at the end of the day. Just know the risks associated with it. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.